Morning. We're back. We're finally able to get out here and hopefully check some hives. I got to put this Apiguard treatment on them, so that's priority. So I got to get that done first. But those 5 new hives, I want to get through them and at least one of them and check them. But we're out here before it gets too hot. It's August the 9th. It's about 7:30 in the morning. We're in kind of central Kentucky, and we'll be checking, installing the Apiguard and checking some hives today. And then talking about a little something that's coming up in the next few days. So we'll be right back. All right, we're just gonna open them up. Hopefully they won't get too irritated at us. We're just going through the top, down, down in the top. And putting our Apiguard on. We put 25 grams on a week ago, last Saturday, and you can see our pad is completely empty. Oh my gosh. And we're gonna put a little bit more on today. We're putting about 30 grams on today. Okay, that one's done. Put this back on winter side down and put the lid back on. I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I'm pretty excited about the Kentucky State Fair. We have agreed to help out with the fair. There's a lot of guys, ladies that work really hard at putting on this state fair. Harder. I knew they worked hard. I don't know if I knew how hard. But they work really hard. You can see all the bees in this one. Good gosh. But tomorrow we start taking in, the fair starts on the 14th. And tomorrow we start taking in honey. Beekeepers from across the state of Kentucky bring in the world's finest Kentucky honey and sell it at the fair. So we have beekeepers from all across the state selling, and people come to the fair from all across the state, and they can usually look for and find honey from their region or where they came from or close to them to get some good local honey. So pretty excited about that. Getting started, going in there tomorrow and getting that stuff ready. I'm gonna show you this. This is what they do. They've propolized around my pad. My pad is empty, but they're trying to close it off around it. So they've got a lot of propolis up there. We'll probably scrape that off. And then put some more down. If you want propolis, this is straight, not mixed with anything. This is good, pure propolis from the hive. We'll save that. Get our syringe. But yeah, we'll be taking in honey. If you've got good Kentucky honey and you're a member in good standing with the KSBA, Kentucky State Beekeepers Association, you can bring it out tomorrow between Sunday the 10th, starting tomorrow, Sunday the 10th, between 12 and 3. And you can bring it out and sell it there at the fair. Oh, you son of a buck. Sucker's hot. We're supposed to go in the morning. We've got to, I think we're meeting for breakfast, and then we've got a KSBA trailer we're going to pick up and take that. We've got a booth over in Agland, which is, I think, in the south wing. That we've got to set up. It's an unmanned booth over there, and but we just got a lot to do as far as getting ready, getting things set up, taking in honey. It's gonna be a big day, and I'm looking forward to it. We sell a lot of stuff there at the fair. We're gonna have, I think, some hot honey this year, some of the bourbon honey, beeswax bars, lip balms, chunk honey, comb honey, just about anything you can think of. Almost will be there at the fair. I never did get my spacers made for my, and that one seems light. But we have beekeepers from across the state of Kentucky, beekeeping clubs across the state will come and work a particular shift. We have two shifts, a morning shift from 9 to 3 and an afternoon or evening shift from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. And they've already signed up and got their dates and times they're supposed to be working. Tickets went out day before yesterday, I think. And so it's a good opportunity to talk bees and meet beekeepers from across the state, see people we haven't seen in a lot of years for myself. I'm looking forward to seeing some guys I haven't seen in a long time. But they work different clubs. For the most part, we got a different club working every day, and sometimes two different clubs a day. I've looked online. You can let me know about if you have a state honey booth at your state fair, but I've looked online for other states to see how they do things at their own fairs, and I haven't had. I got you facing the wrong way. I've looked at other states across the United States or close to us, and I don't find any that how do I say this without making somebody mad? I've been looking for other examples of beekeepers that provide honey at the state fair. Man, they tore that pad up. They wanted that whole thing out of there. Want the Apiguard out, the pad out, and everything. It's a good strong hive. But I've looked for other examples. I think Missouri had a pretty good one. Let me know in the comments if you guys do this for your state. But I had trouble finding other examples. Just looking it up online of other states that do the same thing or something similar to what we do. See if I got another pad. But I would love to see if your state does a statewide honey booth and has beekeepers from across the state. I would love to see how you do it. how everybody else is doing it. I think we do a really good job. These people that's been doing this for a long time have done a really good job at it. I'm just going to use this, I guess. And I haven't found much that's comparable, but like I say, if yours is, and let me know. Y'all almost had that going, and now I'm jacking you back up. Jacked it. Like, dang it. Freaking beekeeper. But yeah, there's a lot of volunteers that spend a lot of hours making it successful, and it's a very successful venture. It's successful for the state of Kentucky Beekeepers, Kentucky Beekeepers Association, and it's also successful for each club gets paid for working there. You know, a lot of the money that the clubs make, local clubs make, comes from the state fair. So it's an opportunity for the clubs to make a little money for their club too. So it's a really neat venture. We'll get down here to the other end now. I want to talk a little bit, no matter where I go. I want to talk a little bit about the feeding situation. I keep seeing beekeepers talking about feeding, and my hives, I told you before I took the honey off too quick. But this is a double deep hive. Working on my QR codes. I have got all these here at the home yard labeled. I'll talk about that in a minute. I don't know if you can see it, but these bees are full of honey. There is no room for feed in here. I seen a post on Facebook the other day. They said, well, guy was having problems with his hives, and another guy said, well, obviously they need feed. And the guy with the post said, obviously not, because you don't see the full box of honey I took off the top of them. And he proceeded to tell him how no matter if the hive's full or not of honey, that they still need to be fed. And I just don't go along with that. I know everybody does things different. I just don't go along with that way of thinking. These hives are full. They're super heavy. You can't lift them. There's no room for any more nectar or honey in there. They said, well, it stimulates the queen to lay, and these are winter bees, and they'll have all these reasons. And maybe you feel that way too, and please feel free to comment and straighten me out if you think I'm wrong. But one, they don't have no place to put it. Two, if they do put it somewhere, they're going to put it somewhere she should probably be laying eggs. I want hives. I would like to propagate, instigate, fluorinate hives that make their own, that I don't have to feed. These don't need to be fed. They're heavy. Now I'll watch them if it gets down to where they're getting light, and they might not get much of a fall flow, and they might go into winter and not have enough food. And, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But right now, I don't understand all this feeding and maybe the hives, most people's hives are not as full as these are. I don't know. Like I say, please feel free to comment, but I just don't understand where they're putting all this feed and why they need for all the feed. We had a late July. Unless you just left your supers on so long. I don't know if they're so long that You know, you took all the honey off and they don't have anything left for themselves. I'm having trouble understanding why we need to be feeding them when they're full. Stinking inner cover's jacked up. But no, I think genetics mean a lot, and I think you need, or I think I want to see bees that have the genetics that they're able to take care of themselves. Ideally, they would take care of their own stuff. They are eating those papers up. Ideally, they would bring in enough feed to take care of themselves in honey, and we wouldn't have to feed them. Is the ideal. Feeding's not supposed to be something we do all the time. It's something we do in emergency or when we have to do it. I don't know. I think it's a mistake to just arbitrarily just start feeding just because it's dearth, or I don't know. Like I say, I feel free to explain it to me, but I don't understand it. But yeah, I've been working. I'm gonna do a video on record keeping here for too long. But I've got all these hives here at the home yard. I've divided the home yard into 3 different yards, 1, 2, and 3. I got 10 down there in the trailer. I got 20 in this section right here. And then that section we did a while ago, there's 6. So I've got it divided into 3 sections. I'm putting information in my B Plus app, and I've got the QR codes on the colony now. I come out here last night. I printed all these on the laser engraver. I come out here last night and scanned one of the codes, and it wouldn't pull up. It just went to a blank screen, or went back to the home screen. I was like, what the heck? So I looked it up online. They said, make sure you got good internet connection. So I come out here and scanned another one and went inside where the connection's better, and it came right up. But I think this QR code is going to be hopefully the thing that keeps me motivated on this record keeping stuff. Like I say, I always start out for a couple weeks and do a great job for about 2 weeks, and it falls by the wayside, get busy and everything else. So hopefully that'll be the thing that keeps me in it, and I'll be able to start tracking some of the stuff that I want to track. But it's got places to put, you know, your date of birth on your queen, know exactly how old your queen is, know where she came from, how much equipment, you can put your equipment inventory in, how much equipment you've got, how much you've got invested in beekeeping supplies, inner covers, outer covers, deeps, shallows, mediums. Keep all your inventory in there, and then when you set up a hive, you tell it how much of that equipment is in that hive. So if you got a double deep, it's got 2 deep boxes, inner cover, outer cover, and some type of bottom board. And then it'll deduct, if you value that outer cover at $20, it'll deduct $20 from your inventory and add $20 to your hive. So you get an expense for each hive. This hive I've got $100 invested in equipment. And then it'll give you, if that hive made honey, you've got a place to put that. So you've got $100 worth of investment in equipment, and you made $300 worth of honey. Then it shows you that. It shows you you've made money, how much money you've made off of that hive. You run that hive into next year, it'll tell you how much it'll make over time. Look at all my hive bills. So it's invaluable, the information that you can gather from it. But just like, oh, it died out. Or they left, good gosh. Or got robbed out, dang it. They was alive too. That was one of the weak ones. I had 3 here that were weak. And that was one of them. And I've got a tag on it. It was 25. So these removable tags, I can take them in. I always wrote the numbers on there before. Didn't have anything I could take in, but I can take that tag in and say, well, this hive died. Look at my lid and what the notes are on the lid, and try to get a why it died, and keep that record, and keep a record of for the dead hive at 25, and then if we use that number on another hive, we can keep a record of that too. So I'm looking forward to really getting into it and getting the information that I can gather from it. I think it'll be really worthwhile. Like I said, I had 3 up here that were fairly weak. Hopefully the other 2 are still living. Killed some bees on that leaf. Can't believe how much they've damaged these pads that I put this Apiguard on. But next time I come in here, the whole paper will be gone. Apiguard and all. These bees are all either caught from swarms or they all came from the wild. They're feral bees. Some people call them mutts, which I hate that name. I think it's a derogatory name for the best, most awesome bees you could get in the world. So we're going to lower the treatment on that one because they didn't quite use it all. But these are all, as far as I'm concerned, the best bees that we can get here in Kentucky because they were caught wild or they were split from bees that were caught wild. So I need a better name for them than mutts. Super, I don't know, what would be a good name for them? Super hygienic super bee, Kentucky super bees, maybe that's a good name. Definitely don't consider them mutts. There's another one that's died out, I bet. Yep, pertinator. We're gonna leave that one. We can keep these bees alive, but my way of thinking, and again, this is just how I do things, and you might not agree with it, and that's okay, but I don't want to have dead outs by any stretch of the imagination. But if a hive can't prosper under the ideal conditions that I give it to live in, I don't want those genetics. If it dies out, I'm not upset about it. Doesn't tear me up. I'll be all right, because it's the ones that do prosper and do good are going to do good next year and the year after and the year after that. Hopefully these records will be able to show that. But there's got to be a point somewhere. I went down this road and probably was too far on the other side of it before. The James Bond method of beekeeping, live and let die. there's a line that you walk in beekeeping. And you don't want to be totally, I'm never going to feed, I'm never going to treat, I'm never going to do anything, live and let die. If they die, they got bad genetics. You know, I'm going to take care of them the best I can. And like I say, I'm trying to give them ideal conditions to prosper in. If they can't prosper in those conditions, and they're weak and dead or almost dead like that last time, I'm not brokenhearted. That's part of a management strategy as far as I'm concerned. If you can't, I give you the best of everything and you still can't make it, then you're not strong enough to live in my system. It might sound cold, but there's got to be a point. Like I said, we can nurse a hive. I have kept good records in the past. It's been a while. But I kept good enough records to know that some hives you nurse year after year after year, and you can keep nursing them till you're blue in the face. And if you've got those records, a lot of times, you know, before I started keeping those good records, I didn't know that I was nursing the same hive I would nurse one year would be the same hive I would nurse the next year and the year after that. I can keep them alive, but is that to go just to have live bees in the box? And you're gonna have to do something. I'm not saying I'm gonna kill the hive, and I'm all about save the bees, but at some point you're gonna have to pull your weight, or get combined with another hive, or something's got to happen. I'm not doing this for charity. I'd like to make a little something, do a little something with it. At least have it pay for itself. It's a single here. Let me bring y'all down here a little bit. But I know there's a lot of people, a lot of different reasons for keeping bees, and everybody has their reasons. And like I say, feel free to comment if you disagree. As long as you're respectful, I'm more than happy to hear it. And I've heard a lot of it before. But like I say, I got tired of nursing hives. I've kept records enough to know that, I don't want to nurse a hive year after year after year after year. I don't mind nursing it for a little while. But at some point, you got to pull your weight. Or like I say, get combined, or, something else is going to happen. So, but yeah, with this new system, this will be the most, if I can keep up with it, this will be the most detailed that I've ever kept records. I always had the best record keeping I ever had. There was two things that really did a lot for my beekeeping. And not that my record keeping's bad now, because I got notes on all these hives and what I did last time I was in here. And I know what's going on in the hive, so I realize it's better than some already. Look at all that propolis. Get you back here where I can move you. Because I keep the notes on the hive. Yeah, 8-2 is ag. Today is the 9th. Ag is Apiguard. So I keep halfway decent notes, but the best notes I ever had before this, look at all that propolis on that one. That's one thing about these wild bees or feral bees. They make a lot of propolis, which is a good thing. The best notes I ever had before were I kept a notebook. I think I've had various ways of record keeping, but I had a notebook. I had, 20, 25 hives, and I had a tab on the pages, and each page, I had notes of each hive and where they was going, and that's how if you keep notes from year to year, these notes will fade out and stuff will happen to it. Another good good way to keep these notes lasting. I was doing a marker for a long time, and I started using the pen. So you can use your colored paint pens that you use to mark your queens with and put notes on there, and you don't have to put a year. You can know what year that note was put on there because of the color. But I kept notes in that notebook, and year after year after year, and I was nursing hive, the same hives every year, and wasn't making. They were costing me the majority of my time and making the least of the money or the assets or bees or queens or anything else. They were a pain. A pain, a yearly pain. Sun's gonna pop up here in a minute. It's gonna get hot. But yeah, with this B Plus app, it's got spots for everything. It's got how much brood is in there, how much. It's got really probably way too detailed, but it's got a space for everything. So if you're all about the details and want to see exactly what your hives are doing, I would highly. It doesn't have to be B Plus. There's a lot of other good apps out there. Hive something or other. Imagine that. But there's a lot of good ones out there. A lot of them using QR codes now. QR code is basically, there's some people asked before what the QR does for you and where it takes you. And it's not something you scan with your camera like you do most QR codes. You actually, in the B Plus app, you actually scan it on the app. It's got a spot that takes you to the camera, and you scan it on the app, and then it basically, all it does is just takes you to that hive, so you don't have to go through. I don't have to go through. Say, well, apiary. You know, you have to pick your apiary. Go to your apiary page, then pick your apiary. You know, we got home yards 1, 2, and 3, and yard out at Milby Yard, and then you have to go. Once you go to that apiary, you have to go to that hive. So it just saves you steps. It takes you straight to that hive. I don't know if I showed you a picture a while ago of it, but that's the. Get down here. That's the QR code, and it's got the number on it too, and it's big enough I can see it. But that record keeping will give you a lot of information that you won't otherwise have, even if you just put notes on the lid. It's on Ricky Rourke's live stream the other night. You turd. And asking about record keeping, and most of them guys keep their notes on the top of the hive same way I do. And that's good. And it tells you a lot, but it don't tell you everything. It goes into to how many hives, how much time you have, and how many hives you want to keep. This beekeeping can take up a lot of time, and some of you guys that work a full-time job and then do this, I don't know how you're able to do as much as you do. And I did it for a while, and I guess I did a lot too, but I didn't do as much as some of you. But you got to look at what you want to spend your time on, how you spend your time, what's most important, and prioritize things. That's, that's one of the things I like most about beekeeping, is that it's I can do it how, I can look at all you guys and how you do it, and I can pick the best, what I think is the best of everybody, and do things the way I want to. So, I've always wanted to have kind of my own business, And that's what this is. I can take the experience and the knowledge and the advice and the watching your all's YouTube videos, and I can formulate that into a system of how I want to raise these bees and do this thing called beekeeping. And that'll either succeed or fail, or cost me more equipment than I make honey, or cost me more time than I make, and that's fine. It keeps me out of trouble if I'm busy. But a lot of it is I want to, I've always thought when I was working, I wonder if I quit working and did this full time, if I could make it. And I always thought I could. So now I'm retired and got a few years to kind of figure out, could I have done this, or am I good enough or know enough, or spend my time on the right things enough to be able to do this and make a living at it. So I'm gonna enjoy it as long as I can, as long as I'm able to, and see what I can do with it. It's kind of a project, but it's something that I love doing as well. If it, I think a lot of your things that you do, you get a little older. If I would do this for free if I had to, because I enjoy it. I enjoy everything about it. I enjoy being a beekeeper, selling honey, extracting honey. The challenge of, a lot of it's a challenge because this is not easy. Beekeeping is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. You really got to know a lot, or know somebody that knows a lot, to be able to do it and be halfway decent at it. So maybe the challenge is a lot of it, but I just enjoy it. I like it. It's nice to have something that you can do with your time, that you would do it strictly for the enjoyment, if it come down to it. And this gets frustrating at times too. You've put so much time and effort and everything into these bees. You drop other stuff that may sometimes be important to work on them. Like I say, give them the best of everything, and then to have them die or have mites take over, or a mite bomb destroy a hive. Mite bomb. Where'd my tool go? Got one more. Mite bomb is when, there was a lady the other day on Facebook that said she had a hive she treated with this Apiguard, and 3 weeks after treatment, she had 24 mites before she began treatment, and then 3 weeks after, she had 36 mites, or the number had went up. I don't know if those numbers are correct for anybody that's seen that same post, but then mite numbers went way up after the treatment, 3 weeks after the treatment. So that to me sounds like a mite bomb. A mite bomb is when the bees, when your healthy bees, when my healthy bees go out and there's a hive in the vicinity, and it doesn't have to be mine, it could be somewhere just close to here in a tree or who knows what. But it's when they go out and rob out that hive because they're weak for mites, and then they bring all those mites back with them. And it causes a mite bomb, causes your mite level to go up unexpectedly and for no reason. You don't know what the heck happened. And that happens a lot. That's why a lot of times people that treat their bees, get somewhat agitated with people that don't treat, because it provides at times I might learn that, you know, our healthy bees go out and rob somebody else's unhealthy bees and bring all those mites back with them. Okay, this is home yard number 2, 20 hives is done. All right, I'm gonna get some more. I'm gonna get some more smoke in my smoker, and I'm gonna do home yard number 1, and then I'm gonna hopefully look at least one of those hives before it gets too hot.